there is a better way to do this, guys. We don't have to proceed on this one. I hear you. I understand there's some hard feelings with PennDOT.
Representative Bradford,
Yes.
just look, I'm a heterosexual. I have a wife. I love my wife. I don't like men, as you might, but don't stop touching me all the time. So like, keep your hands to yourself. Like, if you want to touch somebody, you have people on your side of the aisle that might like it. I don't.
Okay. Chairman. Chair. Okay. We're officially off the rails. So let me throw out a simple idea. My intent was just to beg for your permission for about 30 seconds.
Then beg. Don't touch.
I don't know where we go from here, really. Let me make a suggestion that we do a motion to postpone till our next regularly called meeting of the State Government Committee. I think it's probably appropriate we have a sidebar to talk about some of the, what I'll call, extraneous issues that have been raised. I think we'd be wise to keep to the topic of, as it turns out, landlocked easements and roads. Yeah, I'm pretty much without any further comment that could be constructive at this time.
Thank you, Representative Bradford.
Be projecting, and that we're supposed to be operating within and do the people's business. So he's been told in the past to knock it off, and yesterday I said what I said to draw attention to it, and drew a little more attention than I expected.
Did you think it was something more than just, you know, some folks just reach out and touch someone not meaning anything by it?
He's had purpose in it. One of my colleagues told me that some Democrats had told him that he's been doing that purposely just to try and provoke me to a point where we'd have some kind of engagement where they could utilize it to raise money for their Democratic caucus, which might be backed up by the fact that the Democratic state committee is coming out and, you know, asking me to resign, and as a result, it's just really an interesting twist to say that the person who's been touched that doesn't want to be touched is somehow the perpetrator instead of the victim, and then now he's the victim and he's the one that was acting out and not doing something he shouldn't have done.
Some have claimed your following remarks, the fact that you said you didn't like men, are considered homophobic.
I didn't say that I don't like men. I'm a man. You know, I have a son-in-law. I have a brother. I have a dad. It's like I don't, you know, I hug my dad, hug my brother. Go give my son-in-law a hug. I've got close friends, relatives that I don't mind hugging, people that I like. But somebody that I've asked to stop touching me, that I say stop it, and he doesn't stop it. I don't like that type of a man touching me. And that's what I said. If you like men touching you, you've got someone on your side of the aisle who might like that.
Were you inferring in any way that you thought he or think he is gay?
I was conveying that I don't like to be touched repeatedly by a man, especially one that I've told don't touch me. And I thought that was the best way to draw attention to it, which obviously it was.
Has he touched you a lot of times in the past, or what instances?
It's been for months. It's months of meetings that we've had. I've called, convened many meetings, hearings. Matt Bradford is continually reaching out and touching me on the arm and the shoulder. I think trying to use his body language to convey that he's really the voice of reason, even though he proffers some really radical ideas that are not embraced by the majority of the committee. So I think it's something he's been doing on purpose and with his own purpose. And yesterday I said what I said with purpose, to shine light on the fact that he's acting badly, that he's doing something he's been asked to stop doing. I think all of your listeners, all of your viewers should understand if somebody touches them and they don't want it and they say stop, that they have legal recourse to stop that person from touching them in the future. You know, and battery charges are something that could come into play with a situation like that, where somebody's being touched that's asking someone to stop. So I have a microphone. I have the public limelight that I can help to shine on it, and that's what I did yesterday by saying what I said.
Why bring up sexuality, though? I mean, if you just wanted him, I know you had said to him before, like, hey, knock it off. But why bring sexuality into it?
Why not? Homosexuals bring it up all the time in our culture now. You think somebody that's heterosexual can't say I'm a heterosexual? It's like, I don't like Matt Bradford touching me all the time. I've told him that. I've asked him to stop, and he continues that type of bad behavior. So I wanted to make sure that I sent a strong enough message, since he hadn't heard it in the past, to a point where he actually paid attention to it. I figured that would get his attention.
Do you think the constituents could be upset by this, that this is not what we're paying our lawmakers in Pennsylvania to be worrying about, whether someone touches somebody in a meeting?
I think that in the current environment that we're seeing across the nation, with people being victimized that are stepping forward that have been victimized, that I think that the majority of people agree with me that if somebody says, stop touching me, you should stop touching them. And if this helps other people to have, understand they have recourse. If somebody touches you, you said stop, they don't have a right to keep touching you in any environment. And I don't think that, I'm an elected official. I didn't get elected so I could be touched. You can talk to me, you can debate with me. You have freedom of speech to tell me anything you want. And as a public official, people slander me and libel me all the time. And I have no legal recourse because I'm a public official. The courts have ruled against you trying to resolve that in court. But you're not allowed to touch your elected officials if they don't want to be touched. He's not allowed to touch me when I said stop it.
Did you consider waiting till after the meeting and maybe have a private conversation?
I've already told him publicly before to stop it. Doing it in private is not going to stop him.
Publicly though, because you have the other people in the room who can see that it's happening. Has anyone else in that room ever expressed concern over that, or?
I've been staff and other members have mentioned to me how they've witnessed him continually, purposely touching me, seemingly trying to provoke me.
Does he touch other legislators, or you feel it's toward him?
I don't watch him that closely to know.
What's your response to the Democrats, state Democrats, who are calling for you to step down?
What a ludicrous response. They've attempted to make Matt Bradford, who's a person who's making physical contact that's unwanted, they've attempted to make him the victim. And that I somehow offended him because I told him to stop touching me. I think it's just a ludicrous response. They've called for my resignation in the past, and they were in fact wrong. They said I didn't make a public statement on something that happened, and I had. They just didn't. Actually, I made it on the Mike Pintek show. I'm getting ready to go on now.
Did you, are you going to talk to Representative Bradford or have a conversation maybe to try to iron this out?
I don't think there's anything to be ironed out as long as Matt Bradford understands when we sit next to each other in the next committee meeting, he shouldn't be reaching out and touching me.
Democrats have said he might do that. He's known for his humor to alleviate situations, lessen the tension. Do you think that was part of it, or that's what he's doing when he reaches out and touches you?
And I think that's good for your viewers to understand. There's nothing humorous about somebody continuing to touch someone that says, don't touch me. If somebody's making physical contact with you, in whatever way that they're doing it, you have a right to your personal space. You have a right not to have somebody touch you if you said no and you don't want to touch. So when he keeps touching my arm, he's touching my shoulder, and I've said stop it, he needs to stop.
Are you making a statement not just for what happened, but in general? Is this a statement for what's been going on?
Yeah, I mean, the national conversation, that's a good point, Grace. The national conversation on this, I mean, even just today, Time announcing, the Me Too movement is their person of the year. Are you making a statement about a national conversation?
But that's the statement that I've been making as I've been interviewed today is, and I was just told by a colleague that one of the interviews that was playing nationally, that right afterwards they ran that fact that there is this national attention now to people that have been victimized. The person who is the one touching is the person that needs to correct their behavior, not the person who's been touched. And I think it's important for people across our nation to understand, across our state to understand that if somebody's inappropriately touching them, or if they're touching them in an unwanted way, they just have to say stop, and it should stop.
Outside of what happened, what do you think of Representative Bradford?
I think he's a liberal Democrat that likes to make snarky, sarcastic, smart-aleck remarks and likes to push the envelope as far as he can get away with it.
Do you feel like you're pushing the envelope by what you said?
I fully had control of the meeting. There was no envelope being pushed by me. I was just attempting to rein in bad behavior.
Have any of your colleagues talked to you about the situation here in
Yes.
the state? What did they say?
I have a lot of support from my side of the aisle.
All right. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There is a better way to do this, guys. We don't have to proceed on this one. I hear you. I understand there's some hard feelings with PennDOT.
Representative Bradford,
Yes.
just look, I'm a heterosexual. I have a wife. I love my wife. I don't like men, as you might, but don't stop touching me all the time. So keep your hands to yourself. Like if you want to touch somebody, you have people on your side of the aisle that might like it. I don't.
Okay. Chairman. Chair. Okay, we're officially off the rails. So let me throw out a simple idea. My intent was just to beg for your permission for about 30 seconds.
Then beg, don't touch.
I don't know where we go from here, really. Let me make a suggestion that we do a motion to postpone till our next regularly called meeting of the State Government Committee. I think it's probably appropriate we have a sidebar to talk about some of the, what I'll call, extraneous issues that have been raised. I think we'd be wise to keep to the topic of, as it turns out, landlocked easements and roads. Yeah, I'm pretty much without any further comment that
Thank you.
could be
Thank you.
constructive at this time.
Thank you, Representative Bradford.